All right. This should be fun. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Ravens flock, what's going on, guys? So, to give you a little bit of information, the remainder of the Ravens players have officially reported in for training camp. Training camp officially kicks off tomorrow with the first practice being in the afternoon. I cannot wait for training camp to get started. I cannot wait to see all the highlights. I'm excited. Ravens football is back. Football is back in general, and the journey begins here. There's a lot of hope, there's a lot of optimism, there's a lot of excitement coming out of Baltimore, and I cannot wait to see how this is gonna go down. There's been a lot of hype coming out of Baltimore regarding this new offense. Todd Monken's offense is bringing in a lot of buzz, and there's a lot of excitement in terms of how this offense is going to look. In fact, Mark Andrews talked about that today in his press conference, in which he spoke about how excited he was to showcase this new offense to the fans. So if he's excited, I'm definitely excited. From what we've been hearing, this offense is exactly what we've been looking for Lamar Jackson for such a long time. It's gonna be an offense that utilizes the receivers, an offense that's built for Lamar's arm and to allow the receivers to do their things. We're going to utilize our skill players to the best of their potential and showcase what we can do as a passing unit. That is something we've wanted to see for quite some time now, and I'm so glad we're having it here, especially with this new receiving core. You got talent all over this receiving core, and it seems like this offense is going to maximize that talent and allow Lamar to put the ball in the hands of these skill players and make them go make plays. I cannot wait. It's looking to be a spread offense similar to what Lamar Jackson was running when he was in Louisville, so I am really excited because this is going to allow Lamar to really spread the ball around and get these passes to the receivers and allow them to make plays. We're actually going to utilize our talent on offense. I cannot wait to see how this goes down. So, training camp kicking off, we're going to get to see some glimpses of this new offense, and I'm just excited, especially with this receiving core. Speaking of that, with all this talk about how this new offense is looking and how Todd Monken has implemented a system that is going to utilize these skill players to the best of their potential, I feel the need to talk about this receiving core today. Specifically, how productive will they be this 2023 NFL season, assuming they can stay relatively healthy throughout the season? Now, obviously, when it comes to the Ravens like to keep 5 receivers. So we already know the starting 5 that's going to be out there this season. OBJ, Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, Nelson Aguilar, and Devin Duvernay. Those are your 5. So everyone else will be on the practice squad. James Prochet is not making it. Everyone else will be on the practice squad. I personally will be surprised if they keep 6. But then again, considering that this is Todd Monken and he wants to utilize the skill sets of all his receivers, they might keep 6. Usually we've kept 5, but they might keep 6. So I'm going to focus on the 5 because that's usually how they've done things. But if they keep 6, then that means James Prochet might have a shot to make it. Otherwise, he's going to the practice squad. Anyway, I'm here to focus on the receivers specifically because there's not much to talk about in terms of the production of the tight ends. We've always been utilizing our tight ends. Nothing's going to change. Mark Andrews is one of the best tight ends in football. He's going to get his touches no matter what. He's going to get his looks no matter what. And because we have more skill players, he's going to be able to eat even more because it's going to be a lot more easier for him to get open since he won't be double teamed every 2 seconds. You can't double team him if Zay and OBJ are on the field together. You just can't. So he's going to get a lot more opportunities to be able to eat and make big plays. But we know that's what Mark Andrews does, so there's no need to talk about him. Isaiah Likely, he's our number 2 tight end, and he started to emerge throughout his rookie year. He's built nice chemistry with Lamar Jackson, and I assume he's going to be an asset that's utilized throughout the season. I'm not worried about the tight end unit. I know they're going to be productive. I know they're going to be utilized because for the past 5 years, they've been our main asset of usage. So I'm not worried about the tight end position. What I want to talk about is the receiving core and how the receiving core is going to look and how they're going to be productive. We've already spoken about the 5 that's most likely going to be there. Maybe there'll be 6. I don't know. It depends on what Todd Monken wants to do here. But we've usually kept 5 for our roster. So I'm going to talk about the main 5 and how each one of these guys will be able to be productive on this offense. So let's start it off with, of course, the man of the hour, Odell Beckham Jr. So Odell is coming off of a serious ACL injury. Now, it took about 2 years to get back to where he was. You know, he suffered that injury when he was with the Rams. He played in the Super Bowl, not 100%. Then he really tore it, and he was gone. And if you've been hearing about OBJ's story and how he felt like he was ready to retire, and if it wasn't for, the Ravens really reaching out, he probably would have retired. If you've been hearing about the stories about, OBJ's journey back to wanting to come back and how he's viewing this season as his final, it's really inspiring, man. He's gone through a long journey, but we got to talk about what he's going to do in this offense. Odell is the healthiest he's been in the last 2 to 3 years. He's 100%. There's no setbacks with him. He's back to being him. We know what Odell brings to the table. We know the catching ability. We know the ability to get separation, to get downfield, to make plays and be effective in space. We've seen Odell do that. Now, he's not in his prime anymore, like when he was with the Giants. I don't think you're going to see that Odell, but you can still see an Odell that can be productive. And how productive will he be? Well, in this offense, where we get to utilize the skill players and knowing what OBJ brings to the table as a talent, I think it's possible that Odell, if he can stay healthy throughout a 17-game series, or 17-game season, my mistake, he would be able to get 1,000 yards. I think he'll be very productive. He'll definitely be one of Lamar's go-to weapons because that's a guy he's going to be able to trust. And Odell, when he's on the field, we know he can make plays. The last time we saw Odell on the field was against the Bengals in the Super Bowl. And with the way he was playing early on in that game, it looked like he was well on his way to winning Super Bowl MVP. He already caught a touchdown before he got injured. So we know what Odell brings to the table. He still has that ability. Granted, he's not the guy that he was when he was with the Giants. That guy was arguably the best receiver in football, but he's still a great talent. And with him being healthy, he and Lamar, if they can build that chemistry, he's going to be massively effective. I expect him to be close to 1,000 yards. Maybe he might be able to get 1,000 yards. That's what I expect. If he can stay healthy, he's going to be a primary weapon for Lamar and a huge asset to this offense. And I expect him to make big plays because that's what OBJ is about. Next up, the young rookie, Zay Flowers. We've heard nothing but positive feedback regarding Zay Flowers. You got James Jones coming out and saying that Zay Flowers has been the best receiver for the Ravens so far through these practices, through OTAs and minicamp. He's been the best receiver, and it ain't even close. Now, I feel like there should be some context there because Rashad Bateman didn't even participate due to his injury. And OBJ, they really gave him light work. They did not want to get him involved. They wanted to pace him and take time with him and really get him going when training camp starts. So neither one of the other two guys really got involved. Zay Flowers was there from the beginning, really doing his thing. But from what he was able to showcase, he was spectacular. He was amazing. He was doing his thing for the most part. And that's exactly what you want to hear. The Ravens said Zay Flowers is exactly as advertised. And that is what you want to see as a Ravens fan. Because this is a guy that plays physical. He's one of the smaller receivers in the league, but he plays physical. We've seen the comparisons to Steve Smith Sr. Hell, Steve Smith Sr. loves Zay Flowers and believes in this guy's ability. I love what I've seen from him so far, what I've seen from him on film, and this guy is going to be effective. How effective, though? Well, he's coming into his rookie season, and he's going to be an important important asset. And an important aspect of the team, however you want it. He's just going to be important overall. So he's coming into his rookie year, going to be vital for the Ravens passing game and, receiving game. And in all honesty, I don't want to throw too much at him and say he's going to do this and do that because he is a rookie. But I feel like his production is going to be similar, if not a little bit better, than Hollywood Brown's production during his rookie year. If you go back to see how productive Hollywood Brown was during his rookie year, you saw right off the bat, he came out and he made noise, and he was making play after play after play after play. The guy was doing his thing right off the bat, and that's what made a lot of people believe this is our guy moving forward. So I think Zay Flowers can have a similar type of season. I do not know if he's going to break 1,000 yards receiving, but I can see him having 5, 6, maybe even 7 touchdown receptions this year. He'll come close to 1,000 yards, but I think he'll be around 5 to 7 touchdown receptions. Let's say 800 receiving yards, close to that. I expect him to be incredibly effective. And I'm just lowballing it right now because I don't know how this offense is going to be and how he's going to be utilized. For all I know, every receiver can go near 1,000 yards. You can look at OBJ, he'll get 1,000. Zay will get 1,000. The next guy we're talking about will get 1,000. Who knows? But because he's a rookie, I'm going to pander my expectations and say his production and effectiveness is going to come in his ability to score, especially in the red zone and in the slot, as opposed to him getting a bunch of yards. So I think he could get around 700 to 800 receiving yards, around 5 to 7 touchdowns, and he'll have an impressive rookie season, similar to what we saw from Hollywood Brown his rookie season when he was with the Ravens. Now, if Zay goes out there and blows it and just completely overwhelms everybody with his pure dominance and showcases that he was clearly by far the best receiver in that draft, then hell, I'll love it. And we'll all be excited. We'll know we truly have that guy. If he goes out there and has over 1,000 receiving yards and like 10 touchdowns, spectacular. Spectacular. That would be amazing. That's our guy. That's our guy moving forward. But me, I'm going to pander my expectations, set a goal that I feel is very possible for him within the 17-game outlook. And if he can shatter them, I would love it. But I'm not going to put a bunch of high expectations on him, especially since we have other skilled players on the receiving core now that will be able to make an impact. So you don't need to put it all on Zay. Zay will get his touches. Zay will get his moments. Zay will be able to eat. But we got other guys here that will be able to eat. Especially this next guy, who we got some questions about his health. We don't know how he's going to be when he's out on the field. We don't know how the injury he's been dealing with is going to affect him, because when it comes to injuries like that, especially foot injuries, when it comes to situations like that, they can linger, they'll heal and then come back. They can be very annoying. So we'll have to see. Rashad Bateman last year was set to showcase what he was able to do. That was supposed to be his moment where he defined himself as the Ravens' #1 receiver. If you saw how he started things off the first 2 games, you would understand. He caught that touchdown bomb from Lamar Jackson week 1 against the Jets. And then week 2 against the Dolphins, he takes a slant 75 yards for a touchdown. I mean, the first 2 weeks, this guy was showing us he is that dog. He's our #1 receiver. He was straight up impressing everybody. But then the injuries started to linger. And it started taking away from his time on the field and taking away from his production on the field, because he's not able to really do what he wants to do due to that injury. It was frustrating. It was frustrating. Because you saw in his rookie season, he had the potential to make plays. It took a while because he had to first get healthy, but once he got healthy, he had the potential to do some things, and then Lamar got injured, and that's how that ended. But he was still productive during his rookie season. And then he comes into last year, and right off the bat, he's making a huge impression. Then he suffers another injury, and he's out. So we don't know what to expect from Rashad Bateman in year 3. However, if he can stay healthy, and that's a huge if he can stay healthy, I think he's another receiver that'll come close to 1,000 yards. I don't see him being a 1,000-yard receiver. I do not. But I think he will be another guy that will be an effective weapon for Lamar Jackson. He's already built that chemistry with Lamar last year. As you saw, that was his go-to guy. Lamar was going to Andrews and going to Bateman early on in the season. And Duvernay as well. He had his guys to go to. But due to those injuries, it took away from that season. If he's able to stay healthy, I think he'll be effective this year. Give him around 700 yards as well, maybe 600? I think that's good, 600 to 700 yards receiving. Give him about 5, 6 touchdowns. I think he'll be very effective and be able to do his thing. But in a receiving core that has a bunch of weapons,
There's only so much he'll be able to do. I don't know if this will be the time where he'll showcase that he's the number one receiver, but I think he'll showcase that he's a very, very valuable receiver that the Ravens will look to keep moving forward. It just depends. It really does depend. But I feel that if Rashad Bateman can stay healthy, he'll be incredibly productive. He'll come close to 1,000 yards. Like I said, 600 to 700, maybe even more than that. Maybe he'll pass my expectations. Who knows? Maybe our top 3 receivers will all have 1,000 yards. But I'm going to put him at 600, close to 700. Maybe he breaks my expectations. I have him at around 5, 6-ish touchdowns, 5 to 6. We'll see how it works. I see him being effective and showcasing that he's a valuable asset to this team and a valuable weapon for Lamar Jackson to utilize. So, here's your big 3. Odell over 1,000 yards. Zay coming close to 1,000 yards, but being more effective with scoring touchdowns. Rashad Bateman being productive enough to make some noise, coming close to 1,000 yards himself, getting you about 5 touchdowns as well. So your receiving core so far as a unit is being very, very productive, and you want to see that from them. By the way, with Odell, I don't exactly know how many touchdowns he's going to get. I feel like he's going to be a 1,000-yard receiver, but I don't know how many touchdowns he's going to get. Pencil him in at 7, I guess. Throw him in at that, and we'll see. But I'm more focused about the yards in terms of how I can predict that, because sometimes, with the amount of weapons we have here, a lot of times in the red zone, OBJ is probably going to be the guy we look for, but a lot of times Mark Andrews is really effective in the red zone, and Lamar will look for him in the red zone. So I feel like a lot of Andrews' touchdowns this year are going to come from him working in the red zone. So I don't exactly know about the touchdown production for OBJ, but he'll be effective in terms of receiving yards and making big plays for us. So yeah, those are our 3 guys. Next up, number 4, Nelson Agholor. This is an interesting one. I feel like Nelson Agholor is going to be the underrated aspect of this receiving core. He's not going to go out there and shine the way the other 3 guys are going to. However, this is going to be the type of guy that's going to make plays in key situations, certain catches in key moments that just needs to get done. In a game where you're looking at your other receivers, maybe they're not having the best of days, the production isn't there. You're going to see some key moments where Nelson Agholor makes an incredible catch, or he makes a catch in a crucial moment. I don't know when it's going to be, but I feel like he's going to be the underrated aspect. I don't see him having a lot of yards on this offense. I would put him around 400. He's going to have a couple touchdowns, give him 3 to 4, and he's going to make some important plays in some key moments of the season. So look out for him. There's not much to really talk about him in terms of how productive he will be. Although, he could be a huge surprise, because when we were discussing OTAs and minicamp, the one guy that was making noise and surprising everybody was Nelson Agholor. He was making play after play after play after play. Big play downfield here, big play downfield there. Now, we'll see what he does in training camp. But from what we've seen so far, he's been the guy that's been sticking out. So will this be a situation where Nelson Agholor comes out and he is one of the main top guys in terms of receiving yards on this receiving core? I don't know. But I feel personally he's going to be an underrated aspect. He'll be important, but he'll be an underrated aspect that'll make crucial plays in key moments of the game throughout the season. So look out for Nelson Agholor. I put him around 400 yards. Maybe he'll deserve more, around 500, depending on how this passing game is going to look. And he'll have a couple touchdowns, 3 to 4 touchdowns for him as well. That's Nelson Agholor. Last but not least, Devin Duvernay. I'm going to be very honest, man. Devin Duvernay was another person that was showcasing his ability early on alongside Rashad Bateman. Devin Duvernay in week 1 had 2 touchdowns against the Jets. Week 2, he comes out there and he returns a kick for a touchdown to start the game off. Week 3, he catches a touchdown against the Patriots. I mean, this guy early on in the season was making a case for why he should be the number 1 receiver on this team. And we were making legit debates about that. We were having legit conversations because he was that effective. We were really making arguments for that. But this year, I do not think he's going to be as effective in the receiving game as the others on this unit. I think he'll still be productive as a receiver, but I don't think he'll be majorly productive. In fact, I think we're actually going to utilize Devin Duvernay the way the Niners utilize Deebo Samuel. Because we talked about that. We talked about that over the last 2 years, about trying to utilize Devin Duvernay like that. And the Ravens have tried to do that. They were doing that the last couple years. They utilized Devin Duvernay on a lot of jet sweeps. They were getting him involved in the running game, getting him involved in the passing game, trying to utilize him all over the field. I think it's very possible that Todd Monken is going to utilize Devin Duvernay like that. I don't think Devin Duvernay is going to be highly productive as a receiver. However, I think he's going to have a highly productive year as a player because he'll be utilizing the run game, he'll be utilizing the pass game, and I think he's going to have a fantastic year as a returner. He started off as a great returner last year. He got injured. I think he's going to keep that up. I think his return game is going to be his biggest asset. But I still think he can be very productive on the offense, both in the pass and, both in the receiving and in the running game. So in terms of him contributing to the receiving core, pencil him in somewhere between the 2 to 300, maybe let's say 2 to 350 yards. And let's give him like 3 touchdowns. Hell, I'm inclined to give him 400, similar to Nelson Aguilar, because everybody's going to eat on this offense. I don't think everyone's going to get 1,000 yards. The only person I think is going to get 1,000 yards is going to be 2 players, actually. OBJ and Mark Andrews. I think those are the 2 players that are going to get 1,000 yards this year. Everyone else is going to come close, and the production has to come somewhere. With Devin Duvernay being utilized in the run game and being utilized in the return game, I don't think he's going to be that impactful in the receiving game. However, he will be a useful asset because he has built chemistry with Lamar Jackson. So, there you have it. Odell, 1,000 yards, pencil him in for 7 touchdowns. Zay Flowers, 700 to 800 yards, 5 to 7 touchdowns. Rashad Bateman, 600 to 700 yards, pencil him in for 5 touchdowns. Nelson Aguilar, about 400 to 500 yards, pencil him in for 300 to 400. Actually, not, I'm 4 to 5, 300 to 500, because I'm changing my mind. I'm going to lift it up a little bit more. 300 to 500 yards, 3 to 4 touchdowns. Devin Duvernay, 300 to 400 yards, 3 touchdowns. That's how I think the receiving core is going to be as a whole this year. And honestly, I cannot wait. Mark Andrews is going to have another Pro Bowl season as expected. Isaiah Likely will be able to emerge and have a really productive sophomore year. And I expect this Ravens receiving unit to just be great overall. I expect the passing game to be up to par. And we'll just have to wait and see how things go. Anyway, guys, I appreciate you watching. Training camp starts tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, and the journey begins tomorrow. So we'll see what this offense has in store for everybody. With that being said, that is all I've got, and I'm out of here, man. Peace.